You know, I want to talk about this whole thing with Charlie Kirk and this whole thing with the Minnesota shooting and this whole thing with all these other shootings that have happened recently in the last several years. One things that's consistent is it was perpetrated by someone claiming to be trans or a trans advocate or whatever. But I'm going to tell you something. It is your responsibility as a parent to tell the child, teenager, or whatever to stop the nonsense. It is your responsibility. And all these cases are a failed responsibility. And yeah, I know at some point people are just going to do what they do. They don't care about anything else. Or, people will find a way. If there's a will, there's a way. I get that. But here's the science. Here's a true science. And I don't give a flying, about anything when it comes to this. Here's the truth of the matter. You are born with the chromosomes God has given you. You know, I find that fascinating during the whole 90s gay debate to 2000s. Oh, was born that way. I was born that way. I was born gay. Da 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 da. Then it shifted. Once you got your gay marriage and everything, it shifted. The goalpost shifted to I was born the wrong gender. I was born the wrong gender. Okay. However, when man tries to play God, they mess everything up. When man tries to augment nature, they mess everything up. Now, it's not as simple as just lobbing off one's genitals and slapping on a new set. It's not as simple as a part change. Because they think, okay, well, to truly become the other gender, I gotta do hormone replacement therapy. And once you do that, you are chemically killing your brain. You're driving yourself into madness, into psychotic rages, because you don't know how to deal with it. Because your body is not chemically equipped to deal with it. And that's the thing. I'm gonna give you an example, personal example. Okay, soy. Soy, when consumed in mass quantities, is not good, especially for men. It is not good for men. Soy is not good for men. I mean, unless it's edamame, which is not good all the time either. But it's not gonna do what other soy infusions do to you. Soy lectin. That's a bad chemical. For most of my life, I was a coffee drinker. I had to stop drinking coffee for medical reasons. But let's say I was a coffee drinker, big coffee drinker, and I would put flavor creamer in it from time to time. I remember one time I was buying a specific brand, and then out of the blue, out of nowhere, I felt seriously depressed all the time. I started having all this dark thoughts and everything. I was like, where is this coming from? And I thought to myself, wait a minute. Soy. Okay. I open up the fridge, I pull out the thing, artificial creamer, and it said one of the main ingredients is soy. So I stopped using that brand. Most of the brands have soy in it. And within 24 to 36 hours of not having it, I felt like myself again. I mean, same with synthetic estrogen, which can be found in most plastics, and bisphenol A. That does that to you. Now, it's everybody's different, but for me, my body's extremely sensitive to that estrogen nonsense because my mind and body can't handle it. Okay, you can't handle something, you can't handle something. Don't take certain things, don't consume certain things. Everybody's got certain allergies to certain things. And so that's just an example, a mild example, but an example nonetheless. Now, imagine if I said, all right, I'm tired of being a man, I want to become a woman, which would never happen. But, and I started taking hormone replacement. Look at what, these synthetic stuff did to me. Imagine what the full-blown chemical will do to me. It'll tear open your brain. Like I said, my mind went to dark places, dark thoughts, or whatever. Once I stopped with the, once I realized what I was putting in my body, I was like, nope, stop. Boom, lights turn on. There you go. Same thing with medications that they say, oh my, those warnings that they put on those medical ads. Any thoughts of suicide? Da 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 da. That's a big serious problem when you take some of these drugs and stuff. So that's the problem. Now yes, you out there, as a parent, again, you have to tell your child no. It is your house, your rules, everything. Tell your child no. You're going through a phase. It'll really ruin you. And it will, because your body, the body of an adolescent, I say between the age of, like, I would not say when they become a legal adult, but I would say till about at least 30 or 40 years old, their mind is still developing. Their body and mind are still developing. And the peak of being somewhere in their mid to late 20s, early 30s is the peak physical condition of what a human being can be. And then it's kind of downhill from there, but you know what I'm saying. So that's really the issue here. Is people are chemically, not just castrating, but they're chemically depriving themselves of their full potential. They are turning themselves into something that's unhuman. And it's like, oh, are you saying trans people are not human? I'm not saying that. I'm saying they are killing their humanity softly. Every day that goes by that they're taking those chemicals, they are killing themselves. They're robbing their humanity. They are robbing the world of their humanity, let alone themselves of their humanity. So when we look at this and we see all this stuff, and look at the news. Look at the news. It's like cultural messages etched on ammunitions, when in fact the FBI says trans messages etched on the ammunitions and magazines. And the news says cultural messages. Why are we protecting? Why are we as a society protecting this sort of behavior? It isn't right. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. This is completely demonic because, again, robbing humanity. Robbing yourselves of your humanity. That's exactly what it is. I don't care what you want to call it. It is disturbing. It is disgusting. It is wrong. And I don't care who's upset about what I'm saying. I mean, why do that? Why chemically castrate yourself? Because here's the truth of the matter. When doing this at a younger age, at an age that you're developing it, here's the truth. As your body's developing, especially when it has to do with your physical maturity, your sexual maturity, a lot of times, more often than not, in almost every case, you can't be sexually gratified. and you and people that can be celibate is a very, very small group of people that are called to a life of celibacy. But imagine that frustration. Imagine that frustration that you can't even get your rocks off. Long before it should normally become a problem. Long before, hey, you're in your you're middle aged going into your older age and you got ED or whatever. Long before that, you can't have it at all. You're depriving yourselves decades and decades and decades, and think about the frustration for decades and decades and decades. You can't handle it. Something bad's gonna happen. You're gonna want, and this is the problem. So I think, and this is a controversial take, but I don't care. I think it should be illegal, 100% illegal, to prescribe hormone replacement therapy. Now, if you have a deficit, let's say you're a woman, you have a deficit of estrogen and you need estrogen, that's one thing, because you're just adding more to what you need. And in men, if you need testosterone for the older men, that's another thing, because you're naturally supposed to have testosterone. And so I gave you an example earlier about soy and what it does to me as someone who was a coffee drinker, and I used a coffee creamer that had soy in it, and it really messed me up. And then I realized what was going on, and then I got different coffee creamer, and I was fine within 12 to 36 hours. Same with bottled water. If I drink bottled water now, I'm not gonna like be religious about it and say, oh, no bottled water for me, but if I'm constantly drinking nothing but bottled water, it did the same thing. A little bit slower, but it did kind of the same thing. So and that's synthetic estrogen. So men are not supposed to have estrogen at all. I mean, they're not supposed to get that quantities. I mean, if you eat a strawberry, nothing's gonna happen to you, or whatever, But that's just the truth. There's some things men can't have and shouldn't have, and some things women shouldn't have from a medical nutritional perspective. So I think there should be a push to say it is illegal to have to do these sorts of replacement therapy. Now, I remember there used to be these types of surgeries with no replacement therapy. There might have been suppression, but no replacement therapy. But you get this push to have minors do it, and then okay, that's good. But then they the second they turn 18, they want to go do all this stuff, and they do, and then they're the ones that just go off the rails because they're still developing till at least their 30s or 40s. That's just the truth of the matter. You still develop into your 30s on average. The 20s is still a time of development. Your metabolism starts to change because you stop like growing, but you're still physically maturing. So you really just punked yourself. And it is up to you, the parent in the home, to say enough is enough and to put a stop to it. And it is up to you as a citizen of the United States of America to call your representatives, to flood their emails, whatever, call them out, whatever, write. I don't care, however you get a hold of them. Make videos like this. I don't care. To call for an end, an absolute end to hormone replacement therapy. Now, I don't want to hear all this, well, studies. Like, here's the study. People going mad people going insane, people killing people, people hurting themselves, killing themselves. That is a bigger problem than telling somebody, no, I don't think you should be a girl. Let's be real with ourselves. And let's be real with the American public. Let's be real with society. You know, other countries around the world, they don't seem to have this issue that we have. In a lot of ways, because of our capital, because of our finances, because of a really good baked in network of everything here in this country, a lot of times, we are the guinea pig because we can afford it. We have the capital, right? We are the test ground a lot of times because, like, you know, there's so many people in this country, so much wealth in this country. A few people, a few hundred here or there, maybe a couple thousand here or there go off the rails. No biggie. We got more. We got millions of people in this country. So what? I mean, China's another one, but they're smart enough to say, let's let them try it. Let's let them do it first. You know, and we don't have that same attitude. Like, let's let them do it first. So, we could talk about gun control all day. We could talk about corrupt judges that let people out of jail, and those people stab women on public transportation trains. We could talk about all sorts of stuff. But I just really wanted to point it out to you that this is insanity. And also, while we're on the subject, I'm not quite done here. All you sick people out there, I had to unfriend someone on Facebook today, which I didn't want to do. You know, it's okay. I have no problem being friends with someone who's opposing view to mine, and him and I go back way too many years. I had to unfriend him because all the disgusting stuff he was posting about Charlie Kirk. You know, it's like you don't have to like the guy. You could have disagreed with the guy all your whole life or all his whole life, whatever. But there's nothing to celebrate about it and trying to pull up conspiracy theories. Oh, this is a distraction so we don't get the Epstein files. I don't think so. I really don't think so. And the reason why they're protecting these trans activists is because they know, like I just told you with a chemical imbalance, they know they don't need the MK Ultra plan anymore. They don't need that sort of that program anymore. They say they got rid of it. I don't think they did. It might be, I mean, it's in tatters now, maybe, but they don't need it anymore. Why? Because they could easily brainwash a bunch of these people, and they told the teachers, push this crap. Push this, let's hide this from the parents, and let's get these kids on hormone replacement therapies and get them sex changed or whatever behind the parents' back. And again, your responsibility as a parent to take that child out of that school, put them in a different school district, put them in a private school, do one of those homeschool collectives, whatever it is you got to do, because the children are the future. And look at Gen Z. Look how messed up it. I mean, yeah, it's a very mixed generation on a lot of things. Some good, some bad. The bad part is taking things way to the extreme. You know, me growing up when I was their age, younger, I should say. Now it's Gen Alpha. It used to be, I might not agree with what you're saying, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. Now it's, I don't like what you're saying, so you must be eliminated. That's the truth of the matter. We have differing opinions. There's no such thing as transgenocide. I want you to understand that. Because transgenocide is a fallacy. Because it has nothing to do with your genetics. You chose to mutilate your body. You chose to identify as whatever. You know? So, anyways, that's my rant for the day. Continue to pray for the widow and children of Charlie Kirk. Um, Continue to pray that they get the assailant in custody, because I don't think we could truly move on from this situation until that person is brought to justice and hopefully executed publicly. Anyways, this has been Brian. Thank you for listening to me. I'll see you on the next one, whenever that may be. And, God bless America. May Christ keep you. And turn so you don't burn. Peace out.